How to Get Out of the Rat Race and Master Money, Hidden Secret by Robert Kiyosaki. Imagine for a moment that you could break the cycle that keeps millions of people trapped in the rat race, that never-ending grind where you work harder just to pay off more debt and more taxes. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to accumulate wealth effortlessly while others work their entire lives and barely make ends meet? Have you felt that frustration of seeing your salary increase, but your savings capacity remains the same or even decreases? Have you ever wondered if there is a different way to relate to money that does not involve living in constant fear of losing your job? In this audiobook, you will discover the truth behind the financial system that keeps the middle class in a perpetual state of economic struggle. But more importantly, you'll learn the specific strategies that the truly wealthy use to make their money work for them instead of working for the money. I will reveal to you the fundamental difference between assets and liabilities, knowledge so simple yet so powerful that it can completely transform your financial future. If you're ready to change your financial mindset, write in the comments, "I want to be rich," and publicly commit to your economic transformation. Today, we begin a journey together, a journey where you will stop being a victim of the system to become the architect of your own financial freedom. Take a deep breath, open your mind to new possibilities, and let's get started. Chapter 1: The Big Reveal. Why does the rich get richer? A conversation at a fancy dinner can change everything. Imagine sitting at a table where a millionaire businessman leans over to you and says, "Do you know what the difference is between you and me? It's not the amount of money we have, it's how we think about money." That night, while most people enjoy wine and superficial conversation, you were about to discover the best-kept secret in the financial world. The entrepreneur continues, "While you work for money, my money works for me. While you count the days to the next salary, I count the income-generating assets, even while I sleep." Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, you always end up in the same financial place? Have you noticed how each salary increase seems to evaporate into new expenses? Have you ever wondered why your parents worked their whole lives and still struggle with their retirement? The fundamental problem isn't the amount of money you make, it's the financial education you never received. From a young age, we are taught to study hard, get a good job, work hard, but no one teaches us what to do with the money once we earn it. The education system is designed to create employees, not entrepreneurs, to train workers, not investors, to produce consumers, not wealth generators. Poor financial literacy is the real villain of this story. It's the reason why millions of smart, hard-working people live trapped in an endless cycle of work and debt. Think about it. We spent more than 15 years in the education system learning algebra, history, geography, but not a single day learning how money works, how to read a financial statement, or what the difference is between an asset and a liability. This systematic financial ignorance is no accident. A system that depends on constant consumption needs consumers, not conscious investors. A credit-based economy needs debtors, not financially free people. That's why real financial knowledge is passed down in closed circles, from rich parents to rich kids, while the rest get outdated advice like saving money, avoiding debt, or your house is your biggest investment. Let me tell you the story of Maria, a marketing manager with a six-figure salary who lives on the edge every month, and Roberto, a technician who earns half as much, but who already has 3 properties generating income. The difference is not in how much they earn, but in how they think. Maria sees her beautiful house as her greatest asset. You pay a 30-year mortgage, plus taxes, maintenance, repairs. Her house costs her money every month, but she calls it an investment. Roberto, on the other hand, lives in a modest apartment and uses his money to buy small properties that he rents. Every month, his tenants pay their mortgages while he builds wealth. The concept is simple but revolutionary. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket.
Your house, if you live in it, is a liability. This truth makes many uncomfortable, but understanding it is the first step towards financial freedom. Here are the 3 fundamental principles that separate the rich from everyone else. First, the rich buy assets. I'm not talking about expensive things that look like investments. I'm talking about real assets that generate cash flow. Rental properties, stocks that pay dividends, businesses that operate without your daily presence, intellectual property that generates royalties. Second, the rich understand the power of leverage. They use other people's money, other people's time, others' knowledge to multiply their results. While the middle class fears debt, the rich use it strategically to buy assets that generate more money than the debt costs. Third, the rich think in terms of systems, not work. They create or buy systems that generate money regardless of their presence. A job is exchanging time for money. A system is to create value that multiplies without your direct intervention. The exercise that will transform your perspective is simple but powerful. Take a sheet of paper and divide it into 2 columns. On the left, write assets, and on the right, passives. Now honestly list everything you own: your house, where you live, your car, your credit cards, your investments if you have them. Classify each according to this simple rule. If you put money in your pocket on a monthly basis, it's an asset. If it takes money out of your pocket, it's a liability. Most discover to their horror that their asset column is empty or nearly empty, while their liabilities column is full of things they thought were investments. This is the moment of truth, the instant where you decide if you will continue in the race of the rat race or begin to build your freedom. Remember, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep and how that money works for you. The path to wealth doesn't start with a big salary. It starts with the decision to acquire assets instead of liabilities, to educate yourself financially instead of blindly following conventional advice, to think like an owner instead of an employee. Chapter 2: The Invisible Trap: How the Middle Class Stays Trapped. It's Monday morning. The alarm clock rings at 6 a.m. Carlos gets up, takes a quick shower, has a coffee, and runs for work. He has a good job, a college degree, a car of the year. From the outside, he seems to have it all, but inside, Carlos feels like he's running on a treadmill that never stops, working harder and harder just to stay in the same place. Does this scene sound familiar? How many times have you felt that despite salary increases, promotions, bonuses, you end the month with the same amount of money or even less than before? The middle class lives in a constant state of financial paradox. They make more money than ever in history, have access to more credit, more opportunities, and yet live with more financial stress than previous generations. The question that no one dares to ask is, how is it possible to earn more and have less? The answer lies in what I call the apparent prosperity trap. Every time you receive a raise, you unconsciously adjust your lifestyle. That 10% increase immediately translates to a slightly better car, a slightly larger house, a slightly more luxurious vacation. The result, you spend 110% of what you earn, no matter how much you earn. But there's something deeper and more sinister at work here. The tax system is designed to punish wages. The more you earn as an employee, the higher the percentage you pay in taxes. The wealthy who earn their income from investments and businesses have access to deductions, deferrals, and tax strategies that are not available to those who depend on a salary. Let me tell you about my friend Laura, an accountant in a multinational. 5 years ago, she was earning $60,000 a year and saving 10%. Today, she earns $90,000 and saves nothing. What happened? The answer is found in her garage. 2 luxury cars with monthly payments of $1,500. In her closet, designer clothes that she wears once. On her statement, 6 credit cards maxed out.
Laura is not stupid or irresponsible. He is the victim of a system designed to turn every increase in income into an increase in consumption. Banks offer you more credit because you earn more. Sellers show you more expensive products because you deserve it. Society pressures her to prove her success with material symbols. The key concept here is lifestyle inflation. It's a phenomenon so predictable that the financial planners of the wealthy have it calculated to the millimeter. They know that for every additional $1,000 a middle-class employee earns, they will spend $10,000. Yes, you read that right. You will spend more of the raise using credit, going deeper into the trap. The real cruelty of the system is that it makes you feel like you're making progress while you're sinking. Your biggest house isn't an asset, it's a bigger liability. Your most luxurious car is not an investment, it is a debt that depreciates. Your holidays in Europe are not a well-deserved prize, they're financed consumption that you will pay for with interest for years. Now let's talk about the most dangerous myth of all. Your home is your biggest investment. This lie has destroyed more middle-class wealth than any economic crisis. Your home, the one you live in, is not an investment. It's a place to live, and as such, it's an expense. It consumes money in mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs, improvements. Think about it mathematically. You buy a house of $300,000. For 30 years, you pay interest that almost doubles the price. You add taxes, insurance, maintenance. In the end, you will have paid more than $600,000. If after 30 years you sell it for $500,000, you celebrate because you made $200,000. But in reality, you lost $100,000 without counting inflation. Meanwhile, the rich buy property, but to rent it out. The difference is fundamental. They don't pay the mortgage, their tenants pay it. They don't pay for maintenance, it is covered by rent. At the end of the 30s, they have a debt-free property that continues to generate income, paid for entirely by others. The rat race has another perverse dimension: total dependence on employment. Your whole lifestyle, all your debts, all your obligations depend on you keeping your job. This makes you a willing slave, someone who can't say no, who can't take risks, who can't innovate. You live in constant fear of losing your job, and that fear paralyzes you, prevents you from looking for real opportunities for growth. Here's the complete vicious circle. You work hard, make more money, pay more taxes, take on more debt to maintain an inflated lifestyle. You become more dependent on your job, you work even harder, and the cycle continues until you retire. If you can retire, with a pension that is not enough to maintain the lifestyle you got used to. The exercises that will break this cycle require courage. First, freeze your lifestyle. No matter how many raises you get, keep your current expenses for the next 2 years. Every extra dollar goes straight to buying assets. Second, identify your money leaks, those recurring expenses that don't add real value to your life. Subscriptions you don't use, excessive insurance, duplicate services. Eliminate them mercilessly. Third, create a freedom account. Before you pay anything else, set aside 20% of your income. This money is sacred, untouchable, intended only to buy income-generating assets. Fourth, educate your financial mind. Dedicate an hour a day to learning about investments, business, tax strategies. The knowledge you acquire is worth more than any college degree. Fifth, look for passive income. Start small, a room on Airbnb, a digital product, dividend-paying stocks. The goal isn't to get rich right away, it's to change your mindset from employee to investor. The middle class is not trapped by lack of money, it is trapped by lack of financial literacy and excessive social conditioning. Breaking these chains requires awareness, discipline, and the courage to go against the current. Remember, job security is an illusion. True security comes from having multiple sources of income, assets that work for you, and the financial literacy to navigate any economic crisis. Chapter 3. The Silent Crisis, when the traditional system collapses. It was 2008. Richard was 52 years old, 25 years in the same company, a house almost paid off, a solid retirement plan, or so he thought. One Friday afternoon, they called him to Human Resources. Restructuring, they said. Nothing personal, they added. Within 15 minutes, a quarter-century of loyalty turned into a clearance check in a cardboard box with his belongings. Richard is not alone.
Millions have discovered in the cruelest way that the social contract of the 20th century no longer exists. Those promises of steady work, generous pension, and golden retirement evaporated like morning dew. The question is not if the traditional system will collapse for you, but when. Have you noticed how your parents talked about work differently? For them, loyalty to the company meant security for life. Today, the most successful companies in the world boast of their ability to pivot, restructure, and optimize human resources, corporate euphemisms for firing people without remorse. The systemic problem is deep and multifaceted. Traditional pensions are disappearing, replaced by defined contribution plans that transfer all risk to the employee. Social Security, that lifeline of retirement, is mathematically broken. Experts are not debating when it will collapse, they're debating how it will collapse. Meanwhile, life expectancy increases. Your generation will probably live to 90 years old or older. That means you'll need money to live 30 years after you retire. 30 years without a salary, with growing medical expenses, with constant inflation. The traditional model of working 40 years to rest 30 simply doesn't work mathematically. Let me share numbers that will keep you up at night. If you're 40 today and plan to retire at 65, you'll need approximately $2 million to maintain a middle-class lifestyle during your retirement. If you're relying solely on your company retirement plan and Social Security, you'll be lucky if you get to half that amount. But there's a deeper crisis that no one wants to discuss: accelerated professional irrelevance. The skills that make you valuable today will be obsolete in 5 years. Artificial intelligence, automation, globalization, they all conspire to make your current job unnecessary. No matter how secure you think your job is, someone somewhere is working to automate it, digitize it, or ship it overseas. I know Sandra, a radiologist with 20 years of experience. She earns $400,000 a year reading medical images. Today, an artificial intelligence can do her job with greater precision, 24 hours a day, without rest, without pay, without benefits. Sandra is 45 years old. What will she do in the next 20 years? And then there's McGill, a corporate accountant, proud of his audit expertise. He doesn't know that his company is already testing software that does in minutes what takes him weeks. McGill is 38 years old, has 2 children in private school, and has a mortgage of $500,000. His world is about to collapse, and he doesn't even suspect it. Denial is the favorite defense mechanism of the middle class. That won't happen to me, they say to each other. My work is very specialized, they're convinced. The company needs me, they lie to themselves. But the reality is unrelenting. In the economy of the 21st century, we're all expendable. The fundamental change you need to make is mental. Stop thinking in terms of job security and start thinking in terms of financial security. They're completely different concepts. Job security depends on others. Financial security depends on you. Job security is an illusion. Financial security is a construct. Here's the inconvenient truth. Mutual funds, those supposed saviors of the middle class, are part of the problem. They sell you the illusion of investing without educating you on what you're actually buying. Diversification, the advisors shout, as they charge commissions that eat away at your returns. An average mutual fund charges between 1% and 2% annual commission. It seems little, but over 30 years, those fees can eat up to 40% of your total return. Meanwhile, the fund manager makes millions regardless of whether you make or lose money. Diversification is rather dilution of profits and concentration of commissions. The irony is delicious. They tell you to diversify to reduce risk, but the biggest risk is not having control over your money. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, says, "Diversification is protection against ignorance. It makes little sense to those who know what they're doing." The path to true financial security has 5 pillars. First, develop high-value skills that are difficult to automate. Not technical skills that change every year, but fundamental skills: sales, negotiation, leadership, creativity, complex problem solving. Second, it creates multiple revenue streams. If you rely on a single source, you're vulnerable. You need at least 3 independent sources:
your main job, as long as you have it, a side hustle, and investments that generate passive income. Third, build digital assets. In the knowledge economy, intellectual property is the new gold. Online courses, digital books, software, content that generates recurring revenue. These assets work while you sleep, don't require your physical presence, and can scale infinitely. Fourth, master the art of smart financial leverage. I'm not talking about borrowing to consume, but about using debt strategically to acquire assets that generate more money than the debt costs. A 4% financed rental property that generates 8% return is free money. Fifth, invest in your financial education as if your life depended on it, because in reality, it does. Every book you read, every course you take, every mentor you meet is an investment with exponential returns. The most important exercise is the financial vulnerability analysis. You takes a sheet of paper and responds brutally honest. How many months could you survive if you lost your job today? How many sources of income do you have? What percentage of your income is passive? What skills do you have that will still be valuable in 10 years? The answers will probably scare you. Well, fear can be paralyzing or motivating. Use it as fuel for change, not as an excuse to stay where you are. The crisis is not coming, it is already here. The difference between those who will thrive and those who will suffer will not be luck or connections, it will be preparation and adaptability. The traditional system will not save you, only you can save yourself. Chapter 4. The Psychology of Money, because your mind is your worst enemy. Mark won the lottery, millions of dollars. 2 years later, he was broke, divorced, and more indebted than before he won. Their story is not unique. 70% of lottery winners go bankrupt within the first 5 years. Why? Because the problem was never a lack of money, it was mental programming about money. Your relationship with money began before you could speak. You watched your parents fight over bills. You saw them stressed by debt. You heard them say phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees. We're not millionaires. Money is the root of all evil." Those seeds planted in your childhood grew into the beliefs that today sabotage your financial success. Have you ever noticed that when you have extra money, you immediately find something to spend it on? Have you noticed how your bank account always seems to come back to the same level no matter how much you earn? That's no coincidence. It's your internal financial thermostat working. Every person has a subconscious financial set point, an amount of money they are comfortable with. If you have less, your mind works to get more. If you have more, you unconsciously find ways to get rid of the excess. That's why the poor who win the lottery become poor again, and millionaires who go bankrupt become millionaires again. The conditioning is so deep that you don't even recognize it. Think about your automatic reactions. When you see someone in a luxury car, your first thought is admiration or resentment. When you hear about someone who got rich, you assume it was luck or hard work. When you have the opportunity to invest, your first emotion is excitement or fear. Let me tell you about two brothers raised in the same house with the same parents, the same opportunities. Carlos became a billionaire businessman. Roberto is an office worker who lives from day to day. The difference wasn't talent or education, it was how they interpreted the scarcity lessons of their childhood. Carlos saw the poverty of his parents and decided, "I will never live like this. I will learn what they did not know." Roberto saw the same poverty and concluded, "Money is hard. We're not meant to have it." Same circumstances, opposite interpretations, completely different fates. Your mind is programmed with what I call financial viruses, toxic beliefs that would infect you to take "money is bad" makes you unconsciously sabotage your wealth opportunities because you don't want to be a bad person. "I don't deserve to be rich" keeps you in low-paying jobs and makes you turn down opportunities because you deeply believe you're not worthy of abundance. The rich are dishonest. It prevents you from seeking wealth because you don't want to see yourself as unethical. Working hard for money makes you turn down passive income opportunities because if you didn't sweat about it, you didn't really earn it. Money doesn't buy happiness, it gives you permission to remain poor, as if poverty were more noble or spiritual. These viruses not only limit your ability to make money, they actively sabotage your attempts to build wealth.
It's like trying to drive with the handbrake on. No matter how much you accelerate, something invisible is slowing you down. The most dangerous manifestation is the financial imposter syndrome. Even when you start to succeed, an inner voice whispers, "This will not last. You don't deserve it. They will soon find out that you're a fraud." This voice makes you make decisions from fear rather than abundance, ensuring that your fears come true. I've seen brilliant entrepreneurs sabotage their own businesses just as they're about to take off. They subconsciously set prices too low, reject large customers, make inexplicably bad decisions. It's not a lack of intelligence, it's their internal programming protecting them from the danger of success. Mental reprogramming requires conscious and constant work. It's not enough to read positive affirmations or visualize yachts. You need to identify and uproot the specific beliefs that limit you. The first exercise is the inventory of monetary beliefs. Write down all the phrases about money you heard in your childhood. Everything. The casual comments, the fights, the sighs of frustration. Then, next to each sentence, write how that belief shows up in your adult life. You'll be surprised by the direct correlation. The second exercise is more confrontational, the dialogue with money. Sit with a high-denomination bill in front of you, stare at it, and say out loud everything you think and feel about it. Record yourself. When you listen to it later, you'll hear your true beliefs about money, not the ones you pretend to have. The third exercise is transformative, rewriting history. Take each limiting belief you identified and rewrite it from abundance. Money is hard to come by. It becomes, money flows to me easily when I provide value. It's not empty positive thinking, it's active neurological reprogramming. But here's the secret that few understand. You can't just change your thoughts about money. You must change your identity in relation to money. It's not enough to want to be rich. You should see yourself as someone who naturally creates and attracts wealth. Identity is more powerful than will. You can force yourself to save for a while, but if your identity is that of a spender, you'll eventually spend again. You can force yourself to invest, but if your identity is someone who is not good with money, you'll find ways to lose what you invested. Identity change requires evidence. Every small financial victory should be celebrated and recorded as proof of your new identity. You saved $100, you're a saver. You made your first investment, you're an investor. You earned your first dollar of passive income, you are a wealth generator. Neuroscience shows us that the brain does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Use this to your advantage. Visualize not only having money, but being someone who naturally manages it well. Make smart financial decisions, feel calm and confident around money, enjoying the process of building wealth. The final exercise is the most powerful, acting as if. For a week, before every financial decision, ask yourself, what would a rich person do in this situation? I don't mean spending like a rich man, but thinking like a rich man. The rich don't buy on impulse, they investigate. They don't accept the first price, they negotiate. They don't see expenses, they see investments or liabilities. The psychological transformation is the foundation of financial transformation. You can learn all the investment strategies in the world, but if your mind is programmed for scarcity, you'll find ways to lose money. Conversely, when your mind is aligned with abundance, you'll find opportunities where others see obstacles.
Remember, you're not poor because you don't have money. You don't have money because you think like a poor person. Change your mind, you'll change your bank account. It's that simple and that hard. Chapter 5. The Art of Creating Assets, Your Personal Money Factory. It's 3 a.m. and Jennifer is sleeping soundly. While you're dreaming, your bank account is growing. It's not magic, it's not luck. It is the result of 5 years of methodically building a passive income machine, which now generates $15,000 a month while she literally does nothing. His secret? Understood that time is finite, but assets can work infinitely. Most people trade time for money their entire lives without realizing that it's the worst possible exchange. You have a maximum of 100,000 productive hours in your life. If you sell them at $50 an hour, your maximum living income is $5 million. But if you create assets that generate $50 an hour, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, do you understand the math? An active person does not sleep, does not get sick, does not take vacations, does not ask for raises. An asset is the perfect employee who works for you eternally without complaining. The question isn't whether you should create assets, it's why heck you haven't started yet. Let me bust the biggest myth about asset creation, that you need a lot of money to get started. A lie. You need creativity, determination, and the willingness to do what the 99% won't. I've seen people start with $200 and build empires. I have seen millionaire heirs lose everything because they do not understand these principles. Assets come in multiple forms, each with its advantages and challenges. Let me show you the full menu. Real estate assets, the oldest and most proven way to build wealth. I'm not talking about buying your dream home. I'm talking about buying someone else's dream home and charging rent to live in it. A $200,000 financed property can generate $500 monthly of positive flow. 5 properties and you have a salary. 10 properties and you are financially free. Roberto started by buying a duplex. He lived on one side, rented the other. The rent covered the entire mortgage. He essentially lived for free while building equity. He reinvested, bought another duplex, then a 4-unit building. Today, 10 years later, he owns 50 units that generate $40,000 a month in cash flow. Paper assets. Stocks, bonds, index funds, but not as the middle class buys them, praying for them to go up. The wealthy buy stocks that pay consistent dividends. A stock that pays 5% per year dividend gives you money for simply owning it. With $100,000 invested, is $5,000 a year doing absolutely nothing. Digital assets, the gold of the 21st century. A one-time created online course can sell endlessly. A digital book written once can generate royalties forever. Software, applications, content, everything can be monetized globally without physical limits. Sarah created an online yoga course. It took him 3 months to record it. It cost $2,000 to produce. The first year, it sold 300 copies at $100 each. $30,000 for 3 months of work. But here's the magic. The course continues to sell. Year 2, $40,000. Year 3, $60,000. The work was done once, the income is perpetual. Intellectual property assets, patents, trademarks, copyrights. Every song you hear on the radio generates royalties for someone. Every book sold, every image used, every invention implemented, someone is charging for the right of use. Business assets. I don't mean creating a job for yourself, but a system that works without you. A laundromat, vending machines, an automated online business. And you have to be present for it to work. It's not an asset, it's a job in disguise. The most common mistake is confusing a self-employed job with an asset. If you're a dentist and you open your practice, you haven't created an asset, you've created a higher-paying job. An asset would be a clinic with 10 dentists working for you while you're at the beach. Here's the formula for creating assets from scratch. First, identify a problem that you can solve repeatedly. Don't look for the unique millionaire idea, look for something that you can sell 1,000 times. Jennifer noticed that new moms needed postpartum exercise routines. She created a program, digitized it, now she sells it automatically while she sleeps. Second, create once, sell infinitely. The initial effort may be intense, but then it is pure benefit. Miguel spent 6 months writing a book on personal finance for millennials. 5 years later, he's still generating $1,000 a month on Amazon. Third, it automates relentlessly. Every hour you spend on your asset is an hour you're not creating the next one. Use technology, delegate, systematize. Your goal is for the asset to require 0 hours of your time to run. Fourth, he reinvests compulsively. The first income from an asset is not to be spent. They're seeds for the next active ingredient. This is how exponential momentum is built. One asset funds the next, which funds the next 2, which funds the next 4. Fifth, diversify intelligently. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, but don't scatter them so much that you can't keep an eye on them. 3 to 5 well-managed asset types are worth more than 20 poorly serviced. The practical exercise is to start with the challenge of the first passive dollar.
Your mission is to generate a completely passive income in the next 30 days. It doesn't matter if it's selling a photo on Shutterstock, renting a tool you don't use. The amount is irrelevant. The mental change is everything. Then comes the 10 by 10 scaling plan. Anything you do to earn a passive dollar, find out how to do it 10 times. You sold a photo? Upload 10. Rented a tool? Buy 10 more to rent. It's simple but powerful math. The next level is the compounded asset system. Use the proceeds from the first asset exclusively to build the second. When the second generates revenue, use both streams to build the third. It's the compound interest applied to the creation of assets. The truth is that no one will tell you. Creating assets is uncomfortable at first. It requires you to work without immediate reward, to invest without a guarantee of return, to build without knowing if it will work. That is why the 95% satisfied with a salary. They prefer the certainty of mediocrity to the risk of greatness. But here's the twist. Not creating assets is the biggest risk of all. It's betting your entire future that someone else will always want to buy you time. It's trusting that your body will always be able to work. It's assuming that the system will always need you. History is full of people who made that bet and lost. Assets are your insurance policy against obsolescence, your ticket to freedom, your legacy for generations to come. Every day you put off building assets is a day closer to crisis and a day further from freedom. Remember, you don't need permission to create assets. You don't need a degree, certification, or approval from anyone. You just need to start today, right now. The future you will be eternally grateful. Chapter 6. The Power of Leverage. How the Rich Use Other People's Money. Thomas is 30 years old and just bought his 5th investment property. What's impressive isn't that he has 5 properties, it's that he bought them with only $15,000 of his own money. The rest, $485,000, is money from others working for him. While his friends fear debt, Thomas uses it as a tool to build an empire. Leverage is the best-kept secret of the wealthy and the concept most feared by the middle class. It's the difference between working for money and making money work for you multiplied by 10, 20, 100 times. Have you ever wondered how someone without an inheritance becomes a millionaire in 5 years? How companies that started in a garage are worth billions? How investors multiply their money while you struggle to save 10%? The answer is one word: leverage. But let me be brutally clear. There is good debt and bad debt, and confusing them is the costliest financial mistake you can make. Bad debt is money borrowed for consumption, credit cards for clothing, loans for vacations, financing for the luxury car. This debt makes you poorer every day. Good debt is money borrowed to acquire assets that generate more money than the debt costs. It's pure mathematics. If you borrow at 5% and generate 10%, the 5% difference is pure profit with money that isn't even yours. Let me show you the power with real numbers. Maria has $50,000 saved. Option A, buy a $50,000 property in cash, rent it for $500 a month. Annual return $6,000, 12% on your investment. Option B, use that $50,000 as a 20% down payment on 5 properties of $50,000 each. Total controlled, $250,000. Rent each one for $500. Monthly income, $2,500.
After paying off mortgages, net cash flow $1,000 per month. Annual return $12,000. 24% on your investment. But wait, is there more? In option B, Maria not only doubled her return, she also controls $250,000 in appreciating assets. If properties rise only 3% annually, there are an additional $7,500 in equity. And the best part? Tenants are paying off mortgages by building equity for Maria with their money. Leverage is not limited to money. The truly successful ones leverage everything. Time leverage. Hiring employees or freelancers is buying their time to multiply yours. If you earn $100 an hour and pay $20 to an assistant for basic tasks, you've just created $80 of value for each delegated hour. Roberto had a design agency. He He did everything the same. He worked 80 hours a week, earning $10,000 a month. He hired 2 junior designers, paying them $3,000 each. Now he works 40 hours, focuses on getting big clients, and earns 25,000 net monthly pesos. He leveraged the talent of others to multiply his income and recover his life. Leverage of knowledge. You don't need to know everything. You just need access to those who know. A mentor who saves you 5 years of mistakes is worth 100 times what you pay them. A course that teaches you what someone took decades to learn is pure leverage of other people's knowledge. Technology leverage. An automation tool that costs $100 a month but saves you 40 hours. It's technological leverage. A software that allows you to serve 1,000 customers with the same effort as 10 is exponential multiplication. Network leverage. Your network of contacts is your net worth. A correct presentation can be worth millions. A recommendation can open doors that years of effort wouldn't open. Every quality relationship is potential leverage. But here's what separates amateurs from professionals: responsible leverage versus reckless leverage. Amateurs leverage without calculating risks, without contingency plans, without understanding mathematics. Professionals leverage with surgical precision. The rules of smart leverage are inviolable. First rule: never leverage beyond your ability to pay in the worst scenario. If your property is vacant for 6 months, you can pay the mortgage. If your business drops 50%, can you cover the loans? If the answer is no, you're over-leveraged. Second rule: the return must significantly exceed the cost. Don't leverage 5% to earn 6%. The margin is very narrow. Look for spreads of at least 5 percentage points or twice the cost, whichever is greater. Third rule: have multiple exit strategies. What if you need to liquidate? What if the market changes? What if your personal situation gets complicated? Always plan B, C, and D before leveraging yourself. Fourth rule: start small and scale gradually. Your first leverage shouldn't be a $500,000 loan. Start with $5,000. Learn, adjust, then scale. Leverage is a skill that is developed, not a leap of faith. Fifth rule: diversify your leverage. Don't put all your leverage into one sector, one type of asset, or one source of funding. Diversification in leverage is protection against black swans. The crucial mental exercise is the personal leverage analysis. List all the resources you have: money, time, skills, contacts, knowledge. Now, for each one, ask yourself, how can I multiply this using resources of others? You have a skill? Teach others and get paid for it. Leverage of knowledge. You have time? Use it to build systems that work without you. Systems leverage. Do you have some money? Use it as a down payment to control larger assets. Financial leverage. The next exercise is the leverage drill. Without risking real money, you design a full leverage trade on paper. Find a property, calculate the financing, project income and expenses, identify the risks. Introduce it to someone with experience. Learn without risk. Next comes the leverage ladder. Start with micro leverage. Buy something for $10, sell it for $20 using an online platform. You leverage the platform's audience. Use those $20 to buy 2 $10 items, sell them for $40. It's hands-on without significant risk. The mental transformation needed is profound. You must stop seeing debt as an enemy and start seeing it as a tool. You must stop thinking in terms of what I have and start thinking in terms of what I can control. You must evolve from the scarcity mindset to the leveraged abundance mindset. The fear of leverage keeps most in mediocrity. They work their entire lives to buy a house for cash, feeling proud of being debt-free, not realizing that they lost decades of appreciation and cash flow for fear of a well-structured mortgage. Meanwhile, those who understand leverage build empires with other people's money, multiply their wealth exponentially, and achieve in 5 years what others take in decades. Leverage isn't for everyone. It requires education, discipline, and stomach to handle the pressure. But for those who master it, it's the difference between a life of work and a life of freedom, between being rich and being wealthy, between having money and having time with money. Remember,
every millionaire you know used some form of leverage to get there. The question isn't whether you'll use leverage, it's when you'll start learning how to use it responsibly. The clock is ticking, and the opportunity cost of not leveraging yourself grows every day. Chapter 7. The Exit Strategy. Designing Your Financial Freedom. It's 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. While your former colleagues are in their third meeting of the day, Patricia is on her terrace drinking coffee, casually reviewing her investments from her laptop. 2 years ago, it implemented her exit strategy. She didn't win the lottery, she didn't inherit anything, she just executed a methodical 5-year plan that took her from corporate employee to financially independent at age 42. Financial freedom is not an impossible dream, it's an engineering project. Like any project, it requires plans, materials, tools, and above all, an execution deadline. The problem is that most live in the vague hope of one day, without defining what that day means or how to get there. How much do you really need to be financially free? The answer will surprise you much less than you think, and much more than you currently have. Financial freedom doesn't mean being a millionaire. It means that your assets generate enough passive income to cover your expenses without working. The magic number is different for everyone. If you spend $4,000 a month, you need assets that generate $4,000 monthly. If, with a conservative return of 5% per year, you need $1 million in assets. It sounds impossible, but let me show you how Patricia achieved it by starting from scratch. Year 1. Patricia earned $70,000 a year, spent $60,000. She began by aggressively reducing expenses, not by deprivation, but by optimization. She canceled useless subscriptions, negotiated every contract, eliminated emotional expenses, reduced her spending to $40,000 without sacrificing quality of life. Savings year 1, $30,000. Year 2, used the $30,000 as a down payment on a $150,000 property in a college area. She divided it into 4 rooms, rented each for $600, monthly income $2,400, mortgage and expenses $1,600. Net cash flow $800 monthly, $9,600 annually, plus her salary savings $30,000. Total year 2, $39,600. Year 3, she used the $40,000 to buy 2 smaller properties with the same strategy. Additional flow $100 monthly. Meanwhile, she launched an online course on her professional expertise that began generating $500 monthly. Total monthly passive income $2,500. Year 4, momentum accelerated. She refinanced the first property that had been appreciated. She took out $50,000 in equity, bought 2 more properties. Her online course grew to $1,000 monthly. She launched a second course. Monthly passive income $4,500. Year 5, Patricia reached the turning point. Her assets generated $5,000 a month, more than she needed to live. She submitted her resignation, not of frustration, but of choice. Financial freedom was not a dream, it was a mathematically achieved reality. But here's what Patricia understood, which most people didn't. Financial freedom has levels, and you don't need to reach the last one to change your life dramatically. Level 1, financial security. Your assets cover your basic needs: housing, food, services. You can survive without working. For most, this is $2,000 per month. Level 2, financial independence. Your assets cover your entire current lifestyle. You can keep your life exactly as it is without working, typically $4,000 to $6,000 per month. Level 3, financial freedom. Your assets allow you the lifestyle you want with room for luxuries and emergencies, $8,000 to $10,000 per month for most. Level 4, absolute abundance. Your assets generate so much that you can't spend it all.
Money becomes irrelevant in your decisions, $20,000 per month or more. The fatal mistake is to aim straight for level 4. It's like trying to run a marathon without training. Aim for level 1 first. Basic financial security gives you room to breathe, to think, to take risks. From there, scaling is exponentially easier. The exit strategy requires 5 critical components. First, the freedom member.
Calculate exactly how much you need monthly for each level. Be brutally specific, not about 5,000, but 4,783. Precision creates psychological engagement. Second, the S-Cap portfolio. Diversify your passive income sources. Patricia did not depend only on properties. I had real estate, digital courses, investments in dividends. If one source fails, the others sustain the system. Third, the transition fund. Before you quit your job, accumulate 12 months of out-of-pocket expenses. This mattress allows you to navigate the transition without panic, adjust your strategy if necessary, and sleep peacefully. Fourth, the contingency plan. What happens if your passive income drops 30%? If there's a recession? If you get sick? Have specific answers, not vague hopes. Patricia maintained consultable skills that she could activate if she needed quick entry. Fifth, the acceleration system. Once you leave your job, you have an additional 40 to 60 hours per week. How will you use them to accelerate your growth? Patricia spent that time scaling her assets, tripling her passive income in 2 post-employment years. Practical exercises will transform theory into action. Exercise 1. Brutally honest expense audit. Track every penny for 30 days. Classifies in essential, important, nice to have, waste. You'll find that 30% of your expenses don't add real value to your life. Exercise 2. Passive income sprint. Commit to generating $500 monthly liabilities in 90 days. It doesn't matter how. Rent a room, create a digital product, invest in dividends. The amount is secondary. The habit is everything. Exercise 3. Simulation of freedom. Take a week's vacation and live as if you are financially free. Don't work, but don't spend irresponsibly either. How do you use your time? What do you miss? What do you discover? This experience will reveal whether you really want freedom or are just escaping a bad job. Exercise 4. Map of milestones. Create a 5-year visual plan with specific quarterly milestones. Year 1, Quarter 1, save $5,000. Quarter 2, launch first source of passive income. Be specific, measurable, achievable. The psychology of exit is as important as the mathematics. Letting go of the perceived security of a job activates every primitive fear of survival. Your reptilian brain will scream danger. Your family will question your sanity. Society will call you irresponsible. That's why you need what I call anchors of certainty. They are constant reminders of why you do this. Patricia had photos of the places she wanted to visit, letters written to her future self, testimonies from others who made it. In times of doubt, these anchors kept her on course. You also need a transitional tribe, people who understand and support your journey. Not your cousin who's been working the same job for 20 years, but others seeking or living financial freedom. Patricia joined online groups, attended meetups, found mentors. This tribe was crucial in difficult times. The biggest obstacle is not money, it is identity. For years, your identity has been tied to your profession. I'm an accountant, I'm an engineer, I'm a manager. Leaving your job means reinventing who you are. Patricia had to evolve from being a marketing director to being an investor and content creator. This identity transformation must begin before you leave your job. Start presenting yourself differently. Instead of working in X company, I manage real estate investments and work in X company. SL but powerful change that prepares you for the transition. The inconvenient truth is that most will never execute their exit strategy, not because of lack of resources, but because of courage. It's easier to complain about your job than to leave it. It is more comfortable to dream of freedom than to build it. It is safer to plan eternally than to execute imperfectly. But for the few who dare, who execute, who persist despite fear, the reward is extraordinary. Not just financial freedom, but existential freedom. The ability to say no, to choose your projects, to design your days, to live, not just survive. Patricia now travels months a year,
works on projects that she is passionate about, spends real time with her family, is not smarter than you, had no special advantages, simply decided that 5 years of intense effort was worth more than 40 years of comfortable mediocrity. Your exit strategy is not a retirement plan for 65, it's a freedom plan for the next 5 years. The question is not whether it's possible. Patricia and thousands of others proved that it is. The question is whether you are willing to pay the price in discipline, education, and courage that freedom demands. The clock is ticking. Every day you put off is a day further from freedom and a day deeper into the trap. The exit strategy is not for tomorrow. It is for today, now, this moment. What are you going to do about it? Chapter 8: The Digital Revolution: Creating Wealth in the Knowledge Economy. At 2 a.m. Tokyo time, while Marcus sleeps in Miami, a Japanese businessman buys his productivity course for $300. At 6 a.m. London time, a British startup downloads his planning template for $50. At 9 a.m. Sydney time, 100 people sign up for his automated webinar. Marcus wakes up $1,000 richer without having lifted a finger. Welcome to the digital economy, where the traditional rules of wealth generation have been completely rewritten. The digital revolution is not the future, it is the present. And if you're not participating, you're being left behind at a speed you can't even imagine. While you trade hours for money, others are creating digital assets that multiply infinitely at no marginal cost. Do you understand the magnitude of the change? In the industrial economy, creating 1,000 products cost almost 1,000 times more than creating one. In the digital economy, creating 1,000 copies of a digital product costs exactly the same as creating a zero. This simple reality has created more millionaires in the last 10 years than the previous 50 combined. Let me bust the biggest myth about digital wealth, that you need to be a technician or young to participate. An absolute lie. I've seen 70-year-old grandmothers make millions selling recipes in digital format. I've seen plumbers with no formal education create empires by teaching their trade online. Age is irrelevant. Formal education is optional. The only thing that matters is the value you can provide. The power of the digital economy lies in 5 advantages that did not exist 20 years ago. Instant global reach. Your product can be purchased by someone in New Zealand while having lunch in Colombia. You don't need international offices, distributors, or physical infrastructure. The internet is your global highway, and 24/7. Zero marginal cost. Selling your first digital copy can cost thousands in development. Selling the 1,000th copy costs nothing extra. It is pure economy. All income after break-even is almost pure profit. All income after break-even. All income after break-even is almost pure profit. Full automation. You don't need to be present to sell. Automated systems process payments, deliver products, send tracking, handle basic support. Your business literally makes money while you sleep, vacation, or work on the next project. Infinite scalability. There's no physical limit to your growth. You don't need more employees to sell more. You don't need more space, more inventory, more nothing. You can scale from 100 to 100,000 customers with the same infrastructure. Continuous training. You can improve your product infinitely without physical recollect. You update the file, all future buyers get the upgraded version. Existing ones can also access upgrades. It is constant evolution without friction. Sandra was a math teacher in a public school. She earned $40,000 a year. Frustrated by the limitations of the traditional classroom, she created an online course on math for the university entrance exam. Invested her savings of $3,000, $1,000 in basic recording equipment, $1,000 in editing, $1,000 in initial marketing. First month, 10 sales at $100. It barely covered her advertising expenses. She almost gave up, but she analyzed the feedback, improved the course, adjusted the marketing. Second month, 30 sales. Third month, 100 sales. A year, she sold 500 copies a month, $50,000 for a course created once. But Sandra did not stop there. Created an advanced course, a group tutoring program, a membership with weekly issues. She built an ecosystem of digital products. Today, 3 years later, her digital academy generates $2 million annually.
He left traditional teaching, but he impacts more students in a month than in his entire previous teaching career. Digital business models are diverse and accessible. Information products, courses, ebooks, audio guides, templates. If you know something that others want to learn, you can package it and sell it endlessly. You don't need to be the best expert in the world. You only need to be a few steps ahead of your audience. Software as a service, SaaS. You don't need to be a programmer. You can use no-code tools to create simple apps that solve specific problems. A tool that saves 30 minutes a week for 1,000 people can easily charge $50 per month. Memberships and communities charge recurring access to exclusive content, community, or resources. It is the holy grail of digital income. Predictable, recurring, scalable. 1,000 members at $30 per month is $30,000 predictable each month. Licenses and rights. Create once, license multiple times. Photographs, music, designs, templates, code. Each use generates income without additional work. It is the most passive model possible. Affiliate marketing. Promote other people's products for commission. You don't need to create anything, just connect problems with solutions. The best affiliates earn millions with no product of their own. The process of creating digital wealth follows a predictable pattern. Phase 1. Identification of pain. Find a specific problem that a specific group of people are desperate to solve. Don't look for the millionaire idea, it looks for the pain that people would pay to eliminate. Roberto noticed that independent accountants struggled with e-invoicing. It wasn't sexy, it wasn't revolutionary, but it was a real pain. He created a simple tool that automated the process. Nothing fancy, just a direct solution to the pain. Phase 2. Minimum viable prototype. Don't spend years perfecting. Create the simplest version that solves the problem. Core. Roberto launched his tool with basic functions. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Improvements came later, funded by the first customers. Phase 3. Market validation. Sell before you build completely. Pre-sale, beta testing, early access. If no one pays for the promise, no one will pay for the product. Roberto sold 50 beta licenses at half price, validation and seed money in one move. Phase 4. Feedback-based iteration. Your first customers are your co-creators. Listen obsessively, constantly improve. Roberto implemented the most requested suggestions each week. Their customers felt that the product was built for them, because it literally was. Phase 5. Systematic scaling. Once the market-fit product is approved, it's time to scale. Automation, paid advertising, affiliates, partnerships. Roberto went from 50 to 5,000 customers in a year once the product was polished. Fatal mistakes in the digital economy are predictable and avoidable. Mistake 1. Building without validating. Spending months creating something that no one wants. Validate demand before investing significant time. Mistake 2. Paralyzing perfectionism. Wait for everything to be perfect before you launch. Cast at 80% and upgrade live. Mistake 3. Price too low. Undervaluing your knowledge due to imposter syndrome. If you resolve a $1,000 issue, you can collect 100 no fault. Mistake 4. Not reinvesting. Spend the first profits instead of reinvesting them in growth. The first 2 years, every dollar earned must go back into the business. Mistake 5. Build once and quit. The launch is the beginning, not the end. Successful digital products are constantly evolving. The fundamental exercise is the monetizable knowledge inventory. List everything you know how to do better than average. Everything, from advanced Excel to organizing closets. Every skill is a potential digital product. Don't underestimate what seems obvious to you. It is gold for those who do not know. Next exercise, ethical market espionage. Search course platforms that are sold in your area of expertise. Read reviews, especially negative ones.
Every complaint is an opportunity to do something better. If you see the same claim repeated, you've just found your unique angle. The digital $100. Your mission is to make $100 selling something digital in the next 7 days. It can be a 5-page PDF, an Excel template, a recorded consulting hour. The amount is irrelevant. Proof that you can sell digitally is everything. The mindset needed to succeed digitally is different from the traditional one. Think systems, not hours. Your goal is not to work harder, it's to build systems that work for you. Think global from day one. Your customer can be anywhere in the world. Don't limit yourself geographically. Think about value, not time. A PDF that solves a $10,000 problem can sell for $1,000, even though it took you 2 hours to create. Think long-term. Digital assets are investments that pay dividends for years. The initial effort pays off exponentially. Think abundantly. There is no scarcity in digital. If someone else sells something similar, there's room for you. The digital market is infinite. The transformation from employee to digital entrepreneur is not instantaneous, but it is inevitable if you persist. It begins as a side activity. Build it while keeping your job. When digital income exceeds your salary, you have options. Real freedom. Marcus started selling Excel templates while working as a financial analyst. First year, $2,000 extra per month. Second year, he matched his salary. Third year, he resigned with digital income 3 times his old salary. Today, he runs his business from anywhere in the world. He works when he wants, in what he wants. The digital economy does not discriminate by age, gender, location, or formal education. It only rewards courage. If you can solve problems, teach skills, or entertain audiences, you can build digital wealth. The time to enter was yesterday. The second best time is now. Every day you wait, others are building the digital assets you might be creating. The digital revolution will not wait for you. The question is, will you join or will you be left behind? Chapter 9. The Millionaire's Code. Ultra-successful habits and mentality. It's 4:47 in the morning when David's alarm clock rings. He does not press snooze. He gets up immediately without mental negotiation. At 5 a.m., he is meditating. 5:20 a.m., intense exercise. 6 a.m., personal development reading. 7 a.m., strategic planning of the day. When his competitors wake up at 8 a.m., David is already 3 hours ahead. This routine took him from insurance salesman to CEO of a $100 million company in 7 years. Millionaires are not smarter than you. They don't have superpowers. They weren't born with extraordinary advantages, but they have something that 99% don't: earned discipline and habits designed for success. The Millionaire's Code is not secret, it is simple. The problem is that simple doesn't mean easy. Ever wonder why some people seem to have more hours in their day? Because they achieve in 1 year what others do not achieve in 10. Because every project they touch turns to gold. It's not luck, it is the invisible compound of daily micro-decisions executed with robotic consistency. The first principle of the Millionaire's Code is sacred time. Millionaires treat time as their most valuable resource because they understand that it is the only truly non-renewable resource. You can make more money, you can't earn more time. Jennifer, a millionaire at 35, has an inflexible rule. The first 3 hours of the day are yours. No meetings, no emails, no distractions. Those 3 hours are for high-leverage activities: strategy, creativity, learning. She protects that time like a mother protects her children. The result, in 3 hours, achieves what others do not achieve in days. The second principle is compounded investment in knowledge. Millionaires read an average of 60 books a year: nonfiction, non-entertainment, business books, biographies of successful people, psychology, finance. Each book is a download of decades of experience from someone else directly into your brain. Carlos dedicates at least 1 hour a day to strategic reading. In 5 years, he's read 300 books. Each book gave him at least one implementable idea. 300 improvements in 5 years. Do you understand the compound power? It's not that Carlos is a genius, it's that he has 300 more strategies than his competition. The third principle is health as a competitive advantage. The cliché of the fat and stressed executive is obsolete. Modern millionaires understand that energy is the currency of productivity. Without health, everything else collapses. Richard works out 6 days a week, not for vanity, but for performance. Exercise increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, improves memory, accelerates mental processing, reduces stress.
1 hour of exercise gives you an extra 3 hours of mental productivity. It is a 300% return on time investment. The fourth principle is the high-value network. Your income is the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Millionaires know this and cultivate relationships strategically. It is not manipulation, it is intentional association. Maria used to have lunch with colleagues who complained about work. It changed. She started by attending networking events, investing in paid masterminds, looking for mentors. Within 2 years, his network included CEOs, investors, successful entrepreneurs. Their conversations went from complaints to strategies. His income tripled. Coincidence? There is no such thing. The fifth principle is quick decision, slow change. Millionaires make decisions quickly and change them slowly. The middle class makes decisions slowly and changes them quickly. This subtle difference creates dramatically different results. Thomas sees an investment opportunity, analyzes fast, 2 days maximum, decide, execute. He does not look back for 6 months minimum. It gives time for the decision to mature. Meanwhile, his cousin analyzes the same opportunity for 3 months. Finally, he invests, but he gets scared by the first fluctuation and sells at a loss. The sixth principle is the obsession with the ROI, return on investment, not only in money, but in everything. Every activity, every relationship, every commitment is evaluated. This brings me closer or further away from my goals. Sandra rejects 90% of social invitations. Cruel? No, strategic. A 3-hour dinner with people who do not contribute to their goals is 3 hours less for high-value activities. You prefer to invest that time in your business, your health, or strategic relationships. The result advances 10 times faster than the socially complacent. The seventh principle is failure as data. Millionaires fail more than anyone else, but they interpret failure differently. It is not defeat, it is information. Each failure reveals that it does not work, bringing them closer to what does. Roberto launched 12 businesses before finding the one that made him a millionaire. 12 failures that taught him marketing, operations, management, sales. When the 13th business took off, he had 12 experienced businesses. His competitors had 0. Who do you think won? The daily habits of millionaires are precise and non-negotiable. Waking up early. The average wakes up between 4 and 6 in the morning, not because of masochism, but because of the hours of uninterrupted productivity. The world is asleep. The phone doesn't ring. The email doesn't arrive. Pure concentration. Meditation or mindfulness, 15 to 30 minutes a day. It's not mystical, it's practical. Meditation improves focus, reduces stress, increases creativity, is mental maintenance, as exercise is physical maintenance. Daily exercise, minimum 30 minutes of intense activity. Cardio for energy, weights for mental and physical strength. Exercise is not a waste of time, it is an investment in productive capacity. Strategic planning. Each day begins with absolute clarity of goals. Not all endless lists, but 3 to 5 high-impact activities that will move the needle significantly. Continuous learning, at least 1 hour a day of consumption of strategic information. Podcasts while driving, audiobooks while exercising, reading before bed. Every dead moment is an opportunity for learning, review, and reflection. Every night, 15 minutes reviewing the day. What worked? What not? What will I do differently tomorrow? It is systematized, continuous improvement. Active gratitude. 3 things to be thankful for every day. It sounds soft, but gratitude redirects the brain to see opportunities instead of obstacles. It is pure psychological advantage.
The millionaire mentality has specific characteristics. Thought of abundance. They do not see success as a zero-sum game. If someone wins, it doesn't mean they lose. There is enough for everyone. This mentality opens up collaborations that are impossible for the mentality of scarcity. Total responsibility. They are never victims. If something goes wrong, they look for their share of responsibility. Not to blame themselves, but to have control. If it's your fault, you can fix it. If it's someone else's fault, you're helpless. Long-term over short-term. They sacrifice immediate gratification for future gains. While others buy the new iPhone, they invest that $1,000. In 10 years, the others had 10 phones that are no longer useful. They have $100,000 working. Investment over spending. Every dollar spent is evaluated as an investment. This expense brings me closer to my goals. If not, it is not done. Simple but powerful filter. Learning over entertainment. They choose documentaries over movies, educational podcasts over music, books over Netflix. It's not that they don't enjoy it, it's that they find enjoyment in growing. The power rituals that separate the ultra-its. The power hour. The first hour of the day dedicated exclusively to the most important activity. No email, no phone, no distractions. An hour of laser focus on what matters most. Friday of reflection. Every Friday, 2 hours to review the week, adjust strategies, plan the next one. It's not dead time, it's saw sharpening. The non-negotiables. Every millionaire has non-negotiable activities. For some, it is exercise. For others, it is family time. They are non-negotiable because they are foundational. Without them, everything else collapses. The digital blackout. Deliberate periods without technology. 1 hour a day, 1 day a week, or 1 week per year. It's a mental reset. Space to think deeply without the tyranny of notifications. The exercises to develop a millionaire mentality. Exercise 1. Time audit. Record every 30 minutes what you do for a week. Classifies high value, maintenance, waste. You'll be shocked by how much time you waste. Knowledge is the power to change. Exercise 2. Information diet. For 30 days, 0 news, 0 recreational social media, 0 empty entertainment. Replaces with books, educational podcasts, courses. Your mind will be transformed. Exercise 3. The 5 a.m. challenge. For 21 days, wake up at 5 a.m. Non-negotiable. The first days will be hell. The second week will be tolerable. The third week, you don't want to go back to sleeping late. Exercise 4. Power network. List the 5 people you spend the most time with. Next to it, write their approximate financial situation. Do you like the average? If not, time to change your circle. Exercise 5. Investment daily. Every day, invest something. Money in assets, time in learning, energy in strategic relationships. Doesn't matter how much, the habit matters. Consistency creates unstoppable momentum. Transformation is not overnight, but it is inevitable with consistency. David didn't turn back yes in a day. It was 2,556 days of waking up at 4:47 a.m., 7 years of compound habits. But on day 2,556, he was a completely different person with a completely different life. The millionaire code is not for everyone. It requires sacrifice that most will not make. It requires discipline that most don't have. It requires faith in the process when the results are not visible. But for those who adopt it, the rewards are exponential. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistently good. A 1% daily improvement compounded by 37 times improvement in a year. Imagine being 37 times better at everything in just 12 months. The time of decision is now. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not next year. Now. Every day you put off adopting the millionaire code is 1 day further away from the life you could have. The habits you form today will determine who you will be in 5 years. The mindset you cultivate now will define your future reality. The code is here, tested, validated by thousands. The only question is, will you execute it? Final chapter, your moment of decision.
the point of no return. We're at the end of this journey, but actually at the beginning of yours. You have absorbed knowledge that 95% of the population will never have. You've seen behind the curtain of the financial system. You've learned the strategies that separate the rich from everyone else. Now comes the hardest part, deciding what you will do with this knowledge. Right now, you're at a crossroads. You can close this audiobook, feel inspired for a few days, and return to your life exactly as it was. Or you can make the decision that will change your trajectory forever. There is no middle ground. Either you act or you don't act. Either you change or you stay the same. Let me be brutally honest with you. Knowledge without action is worse than ignorance. At least the ignorant have the excuse of not knowing. You don't have that excuse anymore. Now you know that the rat race is a trap designed.
You know your home isn't an asset. You know that the education system didn't teach you about money deliberately. You know that mutual funds are a legal scam. You know you need assets, not a better salary. With this knowledge comes responsibility. The responsibility to act, or the guilt of not doing so. Because from today, every day that you remain in the trap is a conscious choice. Every day you don't build assets is a decision. Every day that you exchange time for money, knowing that there is another way, is voluntary surrender. I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of information. I need time to process it. I'll start when I'm ready. Lies that your mind tells you to keep you in your comfort zone. The truth is, you'll never be completely ready. The perfect moment does not exist. The only way to learn to swim is to jump into the water. Let me tell you about two people who heard this same information 5 years ago. Anna said, "Interesting," and moved on with her life. Today, he is still in the same job, with the same debts, the same complaints. Peter said, "I begin today," and he took imperfect but immediate action. Today, he has 3 rental properties, 2 digital businesses, and quit his job 2 years ago. The difference was not talent, luck, or resources. It was decision followed by action. The first step doesn't have to be big, it just has to be real. Tonight, do something before you go to sleep. Anything. Open an investment account. List your expenses. Write down your freedom number. Look for a property to analyze. Create the outline of a digital product. No matter how small the step is, it matters what you take it. Momentum is everything. An object at rest tends to remain at rest. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. Right now, you're at rest. You've been at rest for years, maybe decades. Breaking that momentum requires significant initial energy, but once you start moving, each subsequent step will be easier. There will be obstacles. Your family won't understand why you're working on side projects instead of watching TV. Your friends will scoff at your schemes to make you rich. Your own mind will sabotage with doubts and fears. This is normal. It is the price of entry to an extraordinary life. There will be failures. Your first investment could lose money. Your first digital product might not sell. Your first attempt at business could collapse. This is also normal. It's your vision that you pay for in real-life college. Every failure brings you closer to success if you learn the lesson. There will be times when you want to give up, where the traditional path will seem easier, safer, more sensible. In those moments, remember why you started. Remember the life you envisioned. Remember that job security is an illusion and that the only real security is your ability to generate value. But there will also be victories. The day you generate your first passive dollar, the day your asset income exceeds your basic expenses, the day you can say no to a bad client because you don't need the money, the day you wake up without an alarm because you don't have to go anywhere, the day you realize that you are truly free. This is not a speed game. It's a persistence game. You don't compete with anyone but yourself from yesterday. It doesn't matter if it takes you 3 years or 10 years. What matters is that you start and don't stop. That every day you do something, no matter how small, that brings you closer to financial freedom. I'll leave you with one last story. My story. 15 years ago, I was just like you, listening to this kind of information, feeling the mixture of excitement and fear. I made the decision to act. It wasn't easy. I made every mistake possible. I lost money, time, relationships, but I didn't stop.
Today, I live the life I envisioned that night 15 years ago. I don't work out of obligation, but by choice. I don't worry about money because my assets generate more than I spend. I travel when I want, I work on what I'm passionate about, I spend real time with the people I love. I'm not telling you this to brag, but to show you that it's possible. If I could, you can. But you must decide now, at this time, not tomorrow, not after coffee, now. Are you going to be one more stat in the rat race, or are you going to be one of the few that breaks free? Are you going to accept the life you were given, or are you going to create the life you want? The system is designed to keep you stuck, but now you know the layout. You've seen the blueprints. You've got the tools. The cage door is open. You just have to decide to get out. I know it's scary. I know it's uncertain. I know it would be easier to carry on as it is. But I also know that in your heart, you know that you deserve more, that you can achieve more, that you were born for more than paying bills and dying. This is your moment, your turning point, your chance to rewrite your financial history. Don't waste it. Don't be someone else who had the information but not the courage to use it. Be the exception. Be the example. Be the proof that it can be done. The path is clear, the strategies are explained, the examples are given. All that's missing is you saying, yes, I will. I won't try, I won't see what happens, but I will do it, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes. Visualize for a moment your life in 5 years if you don't change anything. The same job, the same debts, the same fears, but 5 years older. Do you like that image? Now visualize your life in 5 years if you implement what you have learned. Freedom, choices, real security. Which one do you prefer? The choice is yours, but the consequences are inevitable. To choose not to act is to choose to remain trapped. To choose to act is to choose the possibility of freedom. There are no guarantees, except one: if you do nothing, nothing will change. My final challenge to you is simple: public engagement. Write in the comments, I break the rat race. Make it public, make it real, create accountability, make your return the first act of your new financial life. And when you do, when you make that decision, when you take that first step, remember, you're not alone. Thousands have walked this path before you. Thousands now walk it with you, and thousands more will walk it inspired by your example. The old you died today. The new you is born now. A you that understands money, that creates assets, that generates value, that lives, does not survive. Welcome to the other side of financial knowledge. Welcome to the community of those who know. Welcome to your new life. Now take a deep breath, feel the energy of possibility coursing through your veins, and take that first step. Your financial freedom awaits. It's time to go for it. Breathe and begin.
Thank you so much, friend, for listening. Leave your ideas in the comments section so our community can grow by learning together. That's all for now. Until the next audiobook,